Black Widow is the newest MCU movie. We haven't gotten an MCU movie in over 2 years. Think about that. The last time we saw an MCU movie in theaters was Spider-Man Far From Home, and that is fucking crazy to me. A film about Natasha Romanoff and her quest between the films Civil War and Infinity War. I've said on my channel before that this film is long overdue. I feel like Black Widow definitely deserved a solo film a long time ago. Ever since Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, I've always been fascinated by Black Widow's character. I feel like there's real mystery and history behind her character that we just aren't getting. So I was excited to finally see this film because of that, and then also this has been pushed back over a year. This was supposed to come out last May. This is the first Marvel project that was pushed back, and it's finally released. And I saw it in theaters tonight, and I'm not gonna lie, it was refreshing. I got chills when I saw the Marvel logo and the music and the theme playing. It felt like I was at home again. And Black Widow is good MCU fun. I had a lot of fun with Black Widow. There's a lot of things I really enjoyed, specifically with the performances. I'll talk about that first. Obviously, Scarlett Johansson is great here. I mean, at this point, when you think of Black Widow, you're gonna think of her no matter what moving forward. But there's really two performances here that really steal the film. And the first is David Harbour. He is fucking hilarious in this film. He's like washed up. He's just like this old superhero, but he's fucking great. I love seeing him in this film. Obviously, I love him in Stranger Things and other things, but he was just great here. Fantastic and hilarious performance. But really the best performance of the film, and she completely steals every scene she's in, is Florence Pugh. And I hope to God that she's in the MCU moving forward because she was fucking great. Once her and Scarlett Johansson get together and they're on screen together, this film picks up significantly and it becomes a blast. Like I said, she steals almost every single scene she's in. She's hilarious, but she gives a really good and emotional performance as well, and she's fucking badass. She can kick the shit out of people. I mean, she brought so much energy to this film that she was by far my favorite part about the film. Another part of the film that I liked was the family dynamic with Black Widow and her family. All of that is interesting. It's also touching, and there is some mystery behind all of that. This film also has a lot of mystery as well, and obviously, I wasn't surprised by that. I expected a lot of mystery in this Black Widow movie, but it works in a lot of sense. There's a lot of things that I found very interesting, and I don't want to go into it, because of spoilers, but there's a lot of things you learn about Black Widow, her family, that gives her a little bit more depth. But unfortunately, those are the only things I pretty much liked about the film. And I'm not saying this film is bad by any means because I had a good time with it. And like I said before on my channel, the MCU doesn't really miss, and they didn't miss here. But this film didn't disappoint me, but it didn't really hit my expectations. My problem with the film is that the plot itself overall isn't that interesting. It's pretty simple, but they talk about things that happened in the past with Black Widow and Hawkeye and other things that's happened in her life that sound very fascinating, that could give her a lot more depth and more character. But for some reason they don't really go into that too much, and part of me thought that what they were talking about, all that should have been the film, not this time frame. This time frame's fun when it takes place after Civil War and before Infinity War because you can throw in a lot of gimmicks and plot points that we would recognize from Civil War and then eventually going into Infinity War. That's all fun and that works, but some of the things they were talking about before, about her past and some missions she went on and things she had to do, I think that could have been a more interesting movie and give her a little bit more depth as a character. There are some things they do throughout the film that give Black Widow more character, more depth. But to be honest, guys, leaving this film, I thought that I would see her as way more of a deeper and complex character. I think she still is, don't get me wrong, but I could have avoided this film, and my feelings for Black Widow are about the same. Love the character, interesting, complex, and deep, but I thought with her standalone film, we would get more of that. I would have more emotional attachment. To be honest, it feels about the same. And this film itself feels like filler in the whole grand scheme of things. And that's going to happen with some standalone movies. But I guess I thought with Black Widow, we would get more attached to her character. And there are some things throughout the film that are very emotional, especially with her family and other things that happen. But I guess I was expecting a little bit more. And also, I found the villains very weak. The villain's just this big Russian guy that's just evil and manipulating people and doing all these horrible, horrible things. By the way, this is probably the darkest MCU movie they've made with their content, to be honest. And I don't know, I found the villain very forgettable. But I will say Taskmaster was cool. I think it's cool that Taskmaster copies all the Avengers and their fighting moves and their weapons. I mean, you saw that from the trailer. Like, that's really cool. But Taskmaster's not really in it too much. Kind of brushed off to the side. The backstory's okay. And my last complaint is with the post-credit scene. I won't spoil anything, obviously. But I would say about half of it should have just been in the film. It should have just been in the film because I feel like that's an important thing we all need to see as an audience. And I know it's in the post-credit scene, so we do get to see it, but I think it would work better if it was actually in the film before the credits rolled. And then the second half of the post-credit scene's fine. I'm just curious with logistics of things of how they were supposed to release some releases, like Marvel-wise, because COVID screwed everything up, because some characters appear, and I'm just kind of like, were they supposed to appear then? Or because COVID fucked it up, now they're appearing? I don't know, I'm just rambling. Black Widow is a nice addition to the MCU. There's a lot of fun sequences, but the best part about this film is the performances. Scarlett Johansson is obviously great, but David Harbour and Florence Pugh, they steal the show. Florence Pugh was my favorite part about this film. There are some emotional moments throughout the film that add some depth and characterization to Black Widow, which I really enjoyed. I love the connection with her and her family. But unfortunately, my biggest issue with this film is it feels filler, and I feel like there could have been a better film if they would have stuck with some other storylines that they talked about, and I wish they gave Black Widow more depth than they did. Unfortunately, the villain was weak here, which kind of sucks because it seems like recently Marvel has been making pretty good villains, and they used to be known for making shitty villains, but here, the villain here was weak, and like I said before, overall the film just feels like filler. I'll give Black Widow 7 Davy Daves. For me, Black Widow is probably middle of the pack Marvel movie. And I know it sounds like I just shit on the film the whole entire time, but I gotta be honest with my issues, but it was just really refreshing to watch a Marvel movie in theaters again. Felt like I was at home, felt like things were normal, and I really do recommend going out and see it. Don't buy Disney Plus premium access or whatever to watch it at home. Go to your theater, go see Black Widow. You'll feel at home again, it'll feel like summer again. It just is comforting. So, Black Widow, let me know what you guys thought of it if you've seen it. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.